Next up on Jason's video game source, members. I got some early impressions for Capcom's newly released Pragmata. This just released yesterday. I made about I don't know 57, 58 gameplay VODs at this point already because um, got a little story with this game early on. I really didn't like it. I thought it was kind of mediocre first 30 minutes, but I'm a few hours in now and the game is fire. Okay. Uh, a month and a half ago, I played Resident Evil Requiem, which I know is a perfect one of the perfect Resident Evil games. So Capcom is on fire. This is a new IP, so you got to give this. You see all these developers. They're terrified to create a new IP. This is a new IP, Pragmata, right? Released April 17th, developed and published by Capcom. Couple hours in, the game is just getting better and better. It's like a third person action adventure game where you play as Hugh, who you know is sent to this moon, this base called what's called a cradle, and basically an accident happened, a seismic earthquake or some shit happens, and basically four of his crewmates, his friends, get killed, and he survives. And along comes this Pragmata, which is like an android called. He ends up naming her Diana, so it's like a little girl, right? And to me, Diana is Pragmata at this point. Capcom, the actress or actor whoever plays Diana, are doing an amazing job at creating this relationship between Hugh and Diana. So that is a big part for me, at least. I'm already thinking about the ending of this game. Like they better have a happy ending for Diana and Hugh. From their interactions, which are just unbelievable at this point. I'm loving the interactions between Diana and Hugh. So gameplay to me, I would coin it as misdirection type, confusion type gameplay, where your two things are independent within. You hack and you shoot. Okay, hacking's independent and shooting is independent, so you're kind of distracted. It's like a distraction gameplay mechanic where you got to watch out for enemies and you got to hack them by using buttons to go through a grid and pick items. You pick up items that help Diana. By the way, Diana's a hacker, Hugh's a shooter. Independent each, and they all got their gameplay mechanics and upgrades and everything. So the gameplay is always going to be interesting. It's always going to be. It's not very challenging. I beat a couple bosses. It's not very challenging. I think I died maybe one time and I'm making gameplay videos. I'm not just playing a game, so it's not that difficult. At least the first 2 or 3 chapters, and but it's good. Like, it's engaging because, like I said, it's like a mashup of confusion dealing with multiple enemies where you got to hack them and you got to shoot them, and they're independent of each other. So it's kind of like you gotta watch your back constantly, even though you got an android Pragmata girl named Diana on your back, literally, in Hugh's case. So gameplay is solid, maps are solid, level design is solid. There's a place called the Shelter. Think of Resident Evil typewriter room where you got melancholic music and ambiance music playing when you reach like a respite point within the game. There's one like big respite point, one big, just it's called the Shelter, and here you could talk to Diana, and throughout when you go out into these you go out into the cradle, into the moon base, and you pick up items. You could like give Diana presents, and she talks about the presents. Like, I gave her a basketball. She was asking Hugh if he could even dribble. Just little interactions are funny and everything. And the loop is powerful. The loop is another thing that surprised me about Pragmata is the loop. The loop is very, very good. Where you go to the shelter, you can always go back to the shelter. You find these little escape hatches. You can always go back to shelters. There's a tram that takes you all over. You get loadout screens. Like I said, you can upgrade Hugh's suit. You can upgrade Diana's hacking. You can also upgrade weapons and stuff and collect different weapons. And schematically, there's this thing called the science fiction thing. I don't know if it's science fiction really, but think of 3D printers. But there's something called filament on the moon base where you literally create cars, buildings, androids. You can create anything with this material, right? So a lot of it, the game and the ideas behind the game has to do with this material called filament and whatnot. So yeah, this is a new IP, man. I'm gonna give Capcom credit. Okay, this is a new IP, and it's solid as hell. The first 3 hours into it, it's solid. And I heard people are having issues getting the disc. The reason why I was able to get this shipped to me was because I ordered it December 31st on Amazon in USA, and yeah, I was able to get a hard disk. And I really don't buy a lot of DLC, but I actually bought the DLC for like the costumes because I'm having such a good time early on, at least in Pragmata. I actually literally decided to buy the DLC, which comes with like artwork, different music, because you can also play a jukebox and play different music like lo-fi, EDM type music, all types of music actually, in the shelter, because the shelter is like the hub of Pragmata. You're gonna spend a lot of time going to the shelter. You're gonna go to the shelter, leave the shelter a lot. So why not have some different outfits, some different music, and some artwork to look at, and stuff like that. So yeah, man, the gameplay loop's powerful. Oh yeah, and I'm playing this on the PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm not a graphics whore by any means, but the game looks amazing. Everywhere you look, you see uh, real time ray trace reflections and stuff. So I appreciate the extra horsepower that the PlayStation 5 Pro provides. There's only I think one true like mode, but there's also a mode where you can like run 120 frames per second, uncapped. I think if you got the TV that can support that. But yeah, man, I want to get back to this shit, man. This is Capcom. I remember Capcom back in 2013 after Resident Evil 6, man. Everybody was like, Capcom's fucked. We were all thinking that. And, now they're here, and they might have one of the best years ever for a publisher developer. When you think about Resident Evil Requiem, you got Pragmata now, which reviewed very well. I'm personally gonna probably review it very well because I'm having a blast with it. It's a solid ass game. I mean, I'm having a great time with it. So, and you also got Onimusha, then you got probably Okami in a year or two. So, Capcom's on fire, man. I'm gonna give them their roses, whatever the hell you want to give them. Shit, they're solid, and I'm having a great time with Pragmata. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you. Yeah, so that was like the big thing that really made me fall for Pragmata was Diana and Hugh's relationship. The interactions. That's I didn't think that would happen because I played plenty of games where there's witty banter, there's good interactions and stuff. But Capcom did such a good job with Diana, making her seem like such a little girl who's also an android, but she's like a little girl, and she's making Hugh a better man, and Hugh's making her, like he's starting to raise her as a father, because Hugh doesn't have any kids. The protagonist, he's just trying to find a way to get off this moon base, the cradle and stuff, and he early on, because if it wasn't for Diana, he'd be dead. She's the one that saved him during the earthquake and repaired his suit and everything, and you could tell she really adores him too, and she likes talking to him. She likes, they just have this great relationship and everything. So that was one of the kickers. And also, like I said, the gameplay loop is really good. It has some Resident Evil-esque energy, I would say, with the gameplay loop and stuff. With the shelter, you go out and shoot some robots and stuff. And by the way, the enemy variety, it's not the best, but it's getting better. There's these flying turrets. There's some huge mega security bots, and there's some walker type bots, and quadruped bots and big bots and whatnot. But members, hell yeah, today's Saturday, so happy Saturday. And I think that's about it for Pragmata impressions videos, and I'll see you in the next one. And thank you for becoming a member. And don't forget, the best streamer in the world is Bobby Vegas Gaming. Hashtag Bobby Vegas Gaming, who is my older brother, by the way. So check him out too when you get a chance. Otherwise, that's it. I appreciate you. Later.